Peace, family. Sister Victoria X here. Welcome to today's read along. As you all know, for those of you who may be new to my channel, my name is Sister Victoria X. I am a women's accountability coach. I help women, specifically mothers and wives, to find their flow between home and business by helping them to establish and set up systems and routines that work. Okay. And so today we are coming to do our book reading. We are doing a book reading, and the book that we are reading today is How to Eat to Live, Book One, by Elijah Muhammad. And so we're going to go ahead and do our 15 minutes of reading, and just to kind of set the stage and the expectation. The way that I do my book reads is that I'm going to read for 15 minutes straight and to the end of a chapter. Okay, so if we end up in the middle of a chapter, then I'll continue out that chapter. But I'm going to read for 15 minutes straight, and at the end of that 15 minutes, I am going to give my commentary, right? And to also set the stage for that. I am not representing anyone. This is my commentary. This is my opinion, I guess. Is that a good thing to say? It is my opinion. It's in reference to me. If I say something out of order, feel free to correct me in the comments, because I don't know all the things. I'm learning. Okay, that's why I'm reading this book. I'm learning more and more every day. That's why I wanted to read this book. But I'm just giving my focus points, the things that stood out to me as someone that is reading this text and that is not 100% familiar or can recall everything that's in it. Okay, so if y'all okay with me being imperfect, we're gonna have my commentary at the end, and we'll go ahead and get started. So this is How to Eat to Live, Book One by Elijah Muhammad. If you are watching this on the replay, please hit hashtag replay in the comments. If you would like to get notified when I do go live to do these kind of lives, text read along to 424-306-0585. Okay. And that will allow me to text you when I go live for these specific types of lives. So today we are starting at chapter 10. How to keep food from hurting us. I thank Allah in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, for bringing to us life and light, so that we may be able to enjoy life, and to enjoy that life longer than we have previously enjoyed it. Many years could be added to our lives if we only knew how to protect our lives from their enemies. As he, meaning Master Farad Muhammad, said to me, food keeps us here. It is essential that we eat food which gives and maintains life. That same food destroys life. Therefore, to keep this food from destroying our lives, we must protect our lives as well as we possibly can from the destruction of food. If we eat the proper food and eat at the proper time, the food will keep us living a long, long time. Eating 3 and 4 times a day is to your stomach as dripping water is to a stone or iron. The dripping water will eventually wear the stone and iron away. But just to look at the water, it does not appear powerful enough in its dripping to wear the stone and iron away. It is the same with food. We continuously put it into our stomachs to be digested, and eventually it will destroy the stomach. If we let our stomachs rest a while and gain strength, they will last longer in doing a job of digesting food for us. Eat 1 meal a day and eat the food that will not harm you so quickly. You do not have to obtain a long, detailed knowledge of what foods you have to eat, because the wrong food has already been pointed out to you. Foods such as the pig, nuts, white flour, meats, of course. We eat some meats, the wrong kinds of peas, the wrong kinds of breads, too many starch foods, and too many sweets. All of these foods destroy us. Bread should be cooked thoroughly and slowly. And if you have plenty of time, cook the bread 2 or 3 times and then eat it. Meat should also be cooked 2 or 3 times. Eating great meals of highly seasoned and sugared pastries is definitely not good for us. They most surely will take years of our lives away. You may eat some sweets, but do not make an entire meal of sweets or eat them every day. Fruit is good for us. We should eat plenty of fruit. To live a long life, eat once every 24 hours or once every 48 hours, if you are able to do so. But if you have heavy manual work to do not try to eat once every 2 or 3 days. And if you eat once a day, you should fast every month for 2 or 3 days. By doing that, there will be no poison left in the body at the end of a year to make you sick even 1 hour. I would like you, who try to live and eat just as this book teaches you, to please send me a letter telling me of the results that you have gained from eating. By doing that, there will be no poison left in the body at the end of a year to make you sick, even 1 hour. I would like you, who try to live and eat just as this book teaches you, to please send me a letter telling me of the results that you have gained from eating as I have instructed you in this book. I repeatedly teach that the way Allah, in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, has taught us to eat will do away with many doctor bills and do away with much maiming of the limbs caused by certain diseases. Sugar diabetes can be controlled and cured if you only eat correctly. Stay off sugar and starchy foods, and leave those old white potatoes alone. Do not eat spaghetti and macaroni at every meal. If you are overweight, do not eat it at any meal. And if you want to live a long time, do not eat it at any meal. Foods such as spaghetti and macaroni are processed, not cooked thoroughly, and are hard to digest. There are some people who claim that they do not receive beneficial results as they should. This is due to wrong mental food that they are eating, which has an effect on their digestive system. To get good results from eating the proper foods, we must have good thoughts. Chapter 11: The proper food and the proper time to eat it. Eating the proper food that has been given to us and taught to us by our God and Savior, Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, changes us in many ways. Not only does it give us good health, but it gives us a better way of thinking, as food and our mental power work in the same way. Whatever affects one affects the other. Eating the proper food also brings about a better surface appearance. Our features are beautified by the health that the body now enjoys from eating the proper food, and also eating at the proper time. Bad food takes away even the beauty appearance of a person. God taught me that the swine hog takes away three one hundredths percent of the beauty appearance of a person. This we can easily understand and see after we stop eating it. The medical scientists also will agree with us that the poisonous flesh of the hog will take away 3/100% of your beauty appearance. There are some people who have eaten so much of this ugly poisonous animal, and he is the ugliest and silliest acting animal you have ever looked upon and been around, as well as the filthiest animal that you have ever dealt with, that they actually look like that animal. It is divinely prohibited flesh. It is a sin for you to eat it. The enemy of God, the devil, teaches you to eat it, and he eats it himself to show you how little respect he has for God's divine law against eating this prohibited flesh. He drinks all of the intoxicating drinks, offers them to us, and then preaches the same gospel in the church, that thou shalt not eat the pig, thou shalt not drink intoxicating liquor, thou shalt not rob, steal, murder, commit adultery, gamble, hate, and lie to one another. Yet he is doing that hourly. Everything that God says, thou shalt not do. In the 10 Commandments given to Moses, they say thou shalt do. It was only a waste of God's time to have given this race of evil people good guidance, because it is just as Jesus said in a parable. The wicked husband was given overlord of the earth and its people never did offer the true owner any of the heir, a convert of righteousness. We have nothing to fear or worry about in the way of right guidance today, because we have God Himself in the person with us to lead and guide us in the way of truth and righteousness. There is a lot of difference in the beauty of true Muslims and that of Christians. I do not mean to say that there are no beautiful Christians or black people who eat the hog, but there is a difference in their appearance of beauty that can easily be discovered by one who obeys this divinely prohibited law against eating swine. The poisonous hog flesh makes the color of many people's eyes muddy and reddish in appearance and makes the people who eat it brazen, careless, easy to anger, fight, and oppose each other. Eat the proper food as given in this book and eat at the proper time, 1 meal a day from 4 to 6 p.m. Chapter 12. The right food in the proper time to eat it is becoming a must. To live without sickness and without fear of a short span of life is now a must for the people who expect to see the hereafter. The way that God, in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, is teaching us, the lost found members of the Aboriginal nation, is the best way, regardless of what it is, whether it concerns food, mental stability, or what have you. He teaches us in the best way. I offer you his teachings, and it is up to you to accept or reject them. But I repeat, he is the best way, as he says in his holy Quran. I, Allah, am the best knower, chapter 2, verse 1. Since he represents himself as the best knower, then it is nothing but intelligence on our part to follow and obey the best knower, who gives the best advice and whose guidance is best for our future, regardless of what we desire. He is the best knower of what guidance we should have. There are many disbelievers, infidels, and atheists today, as the Bible teaches. The fool has said in his heart that there is no God. These ignorant sayings and attacks made against truth go for nothing today, but condemnation with truth. We do not have the type of God that they were taught of. Some spook God and man, but there are supreme men among men, and this supreme one is referred to as God, having infinite wisdom and knowledge over all things. There will be no sickness or disease among us when we learn and obey the law of nature. The law of nature is the divine law the Creator set for us in the beginning of the creation of the universe. This race, white, of people has ignored and disobeyed this law and has met with disaster. They seek and have tried throughout their civilization to change the very natural religion of the black man. But this has proved that the white man was a failure and now has met his unnatural and false teachings and practice with truth and reality of the law of nature and its workings among the created creatures of God. This law is now to defend us against the false guidance and rebelling of this race, white. Let the white man eat all the hog he wants. It was made for him, not for us. It was made for a cure for many of their diseases and is used for salves. If you want to enjoy good health, eat only once a day and nothing between meals if you are not sick. There is an allowance made for the sick ones who sometimes are not able to eat enough at one meal to take them over to the next meal, or whose bodies are weak and must be built up for the 1 meal a day. In this case, they sometimes eat 2 meals a day, but never 3. If you can eat 1 meal every other day, you will enjoy both health and a longer life. Even the men and women who do strenuous mental work can go along with 1 meal a day if they eat the proper food and never want more than that. Okay, you all, and that is the conclusion. Walaikum salam. And that is the conclusion of today's reading. We read chapters 10 through 12. And now we're going to go ahead and get into the commentary. Okay, walaikum salam. Oh, I think I said that already. Ramadan Mubarak. And so, yes, you all. So if you're just coming in or reading the book How to Eat to Live, if you would like to get notified when I go live to do the read alongs, go ahead and text read along to 424-306-0585. That is read along, READALONG, to 424-306-0585. And so that is, and then hit hashtag replay in the comments if you made it this far in the video. So sheesh. So the biggest thing that stood out to me this one, and I already knew this, but as we're reading this, I still wanted to point this out. Over the past like 9 chapters, we've been talking about, or we've been reading about this concept of the, not really the concept, but we've been talking about not only just eating one meal a day, but also eating one meal a day at the right time. And in this chapter, I want to say this, what was it, chapter 11, he straights up and he's direct, and he says 1 meal a day from 4 to 6 p.m. So we've been having this, reading this over the past 3 days, and this is the timeline that he gives. One meal a day between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. And then he also said to eat it at the same time. So if you are saying that 4 p.m. is going to be your time to eat, that means you need to be eating every day at 4 p.m. What does that also mean? That means that you need to properly plan to start cooking at like 3, depending on what you're eating, maybe 3:30. I mean, depending on what you're cooking, but maybe 3:30, right? So sometimes we think about the time that we're going to eat, but we also don't consider the preparation that's required to make that meal. And so don't just go into this like, oh, I'm going to stick to this time and I'm going to commit to this time. If you want to be successful, you have to go into this properly planning. So if you are committing to eat every single day at 5 p.m., which is 24 hours, which is consistent with what we are reading, which says to eat at the same exact time every single day, so that you are training your stomach, right? Because it says the stomach is trained to do what you want it to do. That's what he said, but not in so many words. Like, I don't want to, let me see. I know for sure that I highlighted it, so I can go back and get the exact words. But that's essentially what he said. He said that we train our stomach. Our stomachs are just the way we train them to be. So if that is something that you want to do, if you're committing to this, if you're going to go into this, then be mindful enough to properly not only plan the meal, but properly plan the preparation and the cooking of the meal, right? The other thing, let me see. It says we must protect our lives as well as we possibly can from the destruction of food. It is so crazy that we have lived our lives this long. For those of us who were not raised, you know what I mean, maybe in the teachings, or raised, in the teachings adjacent. And I would even, as someone who was raised Christian Baptist, okay, I don't remember ever having the conversation or hearing the conversation being talked about as food as a source of life, with regard to food as a source of life. I'm not saying it's not a conversation that's had, but as someone that grew up in the church, I was in all the choirs. I was in all the junior choirs. I was head of Sunday school at one point. I was Sunday school secretary at one point. I was in all the things. Bible study, I was there probably 6 days a week. I was in all of the things when I say that, right? So I'm not just saying this because, I'm just someone that went to church a couple times. Most of my time, mostly throughout high school, and I want to say some of junior college, I want to say, probably junior high. Most of that time was spent 6 days at the church house. I've never had the conversation or heard the conversation being had about food being a source of life. So when we talk about food, it's just so interesting to me that it wasn't until I came into the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad that I heard about food being the source of life. And it's one of those things that when you hear it, it's like, duh. Like, duh. But then when you also hear it, you're like, now my eyes are open because I didn't consider that. I wasn't thinking about, I'm providing, I'm lengthening my life with this. I'm not eating stuff with that consideration, with that mentality, right? And so that's how it's easy for us to haphazardly eat because we don't even have the right thoughts about food. We don't even set the right intentions about food, right? So it's easy to mess up on a thing when you don't know it, when you don't know its reason for, like, you don't know the reason for doing the thing. It's easy to mess up. It's easy to drop the ball. It's easy to be careless, right? I don't want to say messed up. It's easy to be careless if you don't know. But he also said here that we are not charged for the sins that we commit without knowledge. But once we get the knowledge, then that's when the charge comes. We are responsible for what we know, not what we do not know. And when I think about that, that also makes me think about the fact that a lot of the times we are so easy to fall into a depressive state. We're so easy to get down on ourselves based on something that happened to us in the past, right? Something happened to us in the past, or we allowed something in the past and all of this stuff. But this is the primary basis, right? Remember that if you knew better then, you would have done better. So how are you going to get mad at yourself for allowing something or doing something and you had no knowledge, you had no understanding? So let me move forward in the reading. Well, not the reading, but the commentary. Other thing he says, eating great meals of highly seasoned and sugary pastries is definitely not good for us. They most surely will take years of our lives away. You may eat some sweets, but not make an entire meal of sweets or eat them every day. When we talk about highly seasoned, child, we the highly seasoned master. We got whole drawers of 58 seasons, and probably like 30 of them finna go on the meal. Right? And I like my seasoned food. That's period. I don't want nothing bland. But I'm just saying what the books say. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. What does this book? This is what the book is expressing. Overly seasoning food. You can still have good food and not use all 30. Okay. And then it's talking about making a meal of the snacks. Now look, he knocking on my front door. Because I'm quick for grabbing a couple of snacks and be like, all right, well, I ate. Yep, I ate today. Right? And most of that comes from emotions and laziness. We don't want to cook the whole meal. We don't want to cook nothing. And it goes back to what I was saying before, properly planning. If you know that your days are usually busy, prepare something. You know what I mean? Prep something. Cut some vegetables in advance. You know what I mean? Whatever you need to do to make sure that you have the right foods at the right time, that you can just grab and go, because it's going to come a time where you're going to get lazy. If that's if that's characteristically who you've been, lazy when it comes to food, right? Then it says, if you are able to, it's a further emphasis of the point of what we talked about before. How to eat to live as far as one meal a day, right? Or one meal every other day, one meal every 3 days. The constant emphasis, it says us, if you are able to. I was having a conversation with my husband the other day, and we were talking about the slinking devil, right? And the slinking devil whispers in our ears, and sometimes it's easy for us to put the slinking devil on someone else, to say this person is blah blah blah, right? But the rest of that says, grant me protection against the sleep. What is it? In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I seek refuge in the Lord of man, the King of man, the God of man, from the evil whisperings of the sneaking devil who whispers into the hearts of men from among the jinn and the men. Right? Who is closer? Who's the closest to you to be able to whisper something in your ear at all times? Yourself. So sometimes we will start to be bullish, and we will start to be super, I don't even know what to call, ritualistic. No, that's not the word. We will be super gung-ho about doing something. And in the midst of trying to do that thing, we will harm ourselves because our ego is telling us, oh no, you could do this. You ain't gonna break your fast. You ain't gonna eat more than 1 meal a day, but you just got out of the hospital and you are barely even taking the nutrients from the 1 meal you do, right? So it's not, you got to remember to discard your ego, because your ego will have you hurting yourself. And I love how there is a constant reiteration of, if you are able to, if you have any health conditions that will prevent you from this, ain't it, right? There are modifications that you can do, but it ain't it. Just make sure that it is for you. And the emphasis on, do not eat spaghetti and macaroni every day. If you are overweight, don't eat it. Don't eat it at any meal. Don't eat it at all. I love me some spaghetti and macaroni. And I would say that I haven't eaten any because I'm trying to follow this here book, but I just ain't made none. That's the real truth. Blessings, right? And this was the biggest bar, and I'm going to close it out on this point, right? This is the biggest thing. There are some people who claim that they do not receive beneficial results as they should. This is due to wrong mental food that they are eating, which has an effect on their digestive system. We must have good thoughts. How many times have we started a new process or going down a new road, right? And the whole time we're doing the things with our body, but in our mind, we're like, we got so much doubt. We have so much negative self-talk. We have so many people around us that is encouraging the negative self-talk. Nobody around us that's encouraging us, moving us forward, motivating us, giving us a good word in our ear. And we wonder we're not losing. We wonder why we're not losing the weight. You've been working out 2-3 months. It's time to consider something else. What is your mental food like? What are you putting into your mind on a daily basis? What is your mental diet? Who are the people that you are allowing to impregnate you with their seeds that will grow at a later time, over time, right? Someone could say one thing that's bad to you, and you can think you discarded it, but it planted because it connected to a bad word that you've already been saying by yourself. And over time, hearing various things from various people, that seed starts to grow. So who are you allowing into your mental garden? And sometimes we allow families to be in our lives when they have not deserved the privilege. They have not deserved the privilege to be in your life. And I'm saying that it is a privilege because we all deserve to have the right people around us. And family, the title of family does not hold us hostage to anyone that's not pouring into us and not giving back positive things into our lives. So that's the final point that I wanted to go over in this commentary portion. If you have made it to the end of this replay, go ahead and hit hashtag replay end in the comments. If you're over here on YouTube and you made it this far, thank you. Go ahead and comment below one thing that you got from this chapter that you have not heard or considered before. Hit that like button, subscribe, and of course turn on your notifications so that you can know the next time that I go live. Okay. And then also, if you would like to get notified when I do go live, hit hashtag replay text read along to 424-306-0585, and that is the end for you all. Peace.